Hey everybody, so nice to see you guys. So hey, what's up everybody? It's your girl Cherrell. I'm the host of Let's Talk, and this ain't a podcast. As always, I love to thank you guys for tuning in every Tuesday, because we cannot do this show without you. You guys' support and all of your feedback means so much to me. So you guys know the routine. My name is Cherrell. I'm the host of Let's Talk, and this ain't a show. Make sure you guys go ahead and follow me on Instagram at MissCarter_1X. You can go ahead and always find me there. You can find me on all social media handles. On all social media with the same handle, either Cherrell Carter or MissCarter_1X. I couldn't remember really quick. Let's see here. Just want to make sure you get some things adjusted here. Bear with me here, guys, a few moments. I told you guys technology is super funny that way. Okay, that looks a lot better. But as always, you guys know the routine. We got to give each other something that we're grateful for, and something that I'm grateful for today. What am I grateful for? I am grateful for. I would say I'm grateful for strength to let go of people and situations and not allow them to linger in my life, or allow me to linger and dwell on the situation. So I'm just grateful for strength today. Drop in my comment section something that you're grateful for, guys. Y'all know we got to do that. That's how we got to do. While you guys are dropping those your grateful things in our comment section, we have an amazing amazeballs show for you guys. I cannot wait to talk with our next guest. I think this is something that we all need to talk about. I think that our men need to not be so afraid to have this conversation or talk about this topic. And I think that we need to do a better job of addressing it, especially in our music. You guys know how big how vocal I am about certain things, and this is a big thing for me. Sexual assault across the board is a huge thing against adults, against women and children, men, sexual assault against men. I'm just, that's something that just grinds my gears, or something that I'm super passionate about. But we got the hippie say, you're grateful for other people. I am grateful for other people. I am that I am. So you can go ahead and send me that request and we can get you on here. Guys, we have a great show. I'm so excited. I'm like so excited. And we're going to be speaking with a very knowledgeable woman. Someone that is extremely passionate about this topic as well. And I can't wait to get you guys all this information and definitely have a very well needed conversation. So let's get her on here. We started. Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
girl. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining. I'm so happy to have you today.
I like your lighting. I'm not as prepared as you, but look at this situation, girl. You got a situation. I love it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I've been working hard, girl. Okay, so the routine is when you get on the show, you got to give us something that you're grateful for. Oh, you did give us something. Well, can you give it to us again?
Yes, I can elaborate. I'm grateful for other people because of everything that we've been doing with the Slutwalk has taken way more than just me. I appreciate all the accolades and all the thank yous from people, but it has been a team of fabulous people who have been working on the Slutwalk. So I'm very grateful for other people because I would not be able to do this myself at all.
Okay, shout out to the other people. I'm one of the other people y'all volunteering, so I'm just saying.
Yes, I'm playing with the filters right now, girl. I don't really be on live like this, so if I'm doing too much, girl, let me know.
You're fine. Okay, so before we go any further, we definitely give our viewers, tell us a little bit about you and kind of how you got involved with the Slutwalk.
Okay, so my name is Chantel Watkins. I'm also a poet by the name of Shani the Hippie. And I'm an activist, and I've been in activism for over 10 years now. And I work with an organization called Metro Detroit Political Action Network, and they directly do the Slutwalk. And last year I was asked to be the chair. I've performed at the Slutwalk before, and I've participated in part of the planning. So I do event planning for causes in a very like non-traditional way, you know, like, and they really liked it, and they were like, we'd like you to take over this year and see how it goes. So far so good, and I'm sure Saturday is going to be amazing.
That's dope. I like that. I like how it just kind of grew on you. You went from a small portion of it, and then you just grew, and now you're the chair. So the Slut Walk, before we get into all the details of the event, the Slut Walk aims to bring awareness to sexual assault survivors as well as the people that are accused of sexual assault. A lot of times we see a lot of slut shaming, victim blaming, all of this in rape culture. Can you kind of explain to all our viewers what exactly rape culture is?
Yes, so that's the main objective of the Slut Walk, is to help survivors by ending rape culture and victim slut shaming and victim blaming. So rape culture is a lot of things. So it starts with kind of the misogyny and patriarchy that allows you to say stuff like, well, what were you wearing when someone tells you they were assaulted? Or like, what did you do? Are you sure? And then it also goes even beyond that. It goes to like saying stuff to men like, why wouldn't you want to have sex? Like, why wouldn't you want to be with that person? Or making, you know, young boys who are molested by babysitters feel like that's a rite of passage. So there's lots and lots of layers in rape culture. So oftentimes, if you ever find yourself questioning the person being assaulted, you are participating in rape culture. And I think that's the easiest way to remember that and teach that. If you find yourself questioning that person, then you're participating in rape culture. It's something.
Well, guys, I think we're running into some technical difficulties here. Let's see. Bear with us, you guys, here a few moments. You know that technology is super funny. If you guys are just joining in, we were just briefly touching on what exactly rape culture is and how to remember whether or not you're participating in rape culture. Let's see. Okay. I think you froze there for a moment.
Yeah, I think it was something with my connection. I just fixed my Wi-Fi, girl. I had to, you know, my bad.
Okay.
But
all right, we're
yeah.
back there.
Yes, I think that the biggest thing is remembering to check yourself, because I literally just read a story and I was like, wow, I wonder what happened. And I'm like, girl, why are you wondering what happened? That's not your business what happens. You know, like beforehand, this person said that they were assaulted. So I think it's really knowing to check yourself, because whenever you find yourself questioning a victim, you're participating in rape culture. And it goes even beyond us as regular people. It goes to police. A lot of times people don't report their crimes because police will ask them, like, are you sure that you've been assaulted, or things like that. So even when we're talking about the big thing about, you know, police brutality right now, that even feeds directly into rape culture and sexual assault. So there are so many different layers. We could talk about the conviction rates, which are like less than 1% in most places and everything. And it really comes down to allowing assaulters to roam freely and shaming the people who have been affected. And rape culture is the main factor why sexual assault continues.
I agree. I definitely agree with you there. I think a big thing, a part of rape culture is actually kind of ending the stigma that there's only one way that rape looks like. A lot of people don't, they think rape is like, oh, he had to forcefully break in your house and rape you. And it's like, nah, it kind of happened like that sometimes, but sometimes it's not always that. Rape looks and sounds like a lot of different things. It's not just one way to happen. So I think that a lot of times we kind of got to get people out of that mindset. I have a conversation with men, and that's like, well, did he hold her down? It's like, no, he didn't hold her down, but there are many other mental factors that go into play to raping someone. So we definitely kind of got to end that stigma that is one way to be raped. That's
even beyond rape. Like, sexual assault is many things. It's unwanted touching. It's unwanted advances. It's a lot of different things. And then when we talk about rape, we talk about people being coerced. There are plenty of people who say yes to having sex with someone because they're afraid of being raped. So when we talk about sexual assault, it is so many different things. So that's another thing about rape culture, that people think it is somebody busting in your house and laying you down, you know, with a gun upside your head. And that's just not the case. it can be, most people are sexually assaulted by somebody they know and they're familiar with, whether it's a family member, a friend. You can be raped by your boyfriend, your husband, your girlfriend, and a lot of people don't count that as rape, because there was a whole church controversy in the 1980s where there was a man who was raping his wife, and the lady confessed to her pastor, and her pastor said that the Bible says that you give your husband whatever he asks. And she was being raped by her husband habitually. So there are a lot of different things when we talk about sexual assault, and they're not just explicitly rape.
Exactly. Let's that's a, you know, you did briefly kind of touch on the unwanted touching. I know that a lot. I'm even going to say I've had this happen to me a bazillion times in the workplace. This is a very big thing that I notice for a lot of women that happens to them in the workplace a lot of the times. And I think that the first time I actually kind of experienced somebody touching me, and I'm like, it's a bag up. I was probably like in high school, and I was working at Wendy's. I remember this, and it was just kind of like, can you back up, please? And it's like, even though we don't think much of it, it's kind of just the idea that sometimes men and women think they have this type of authority over your body, that they can just touch you when they want to touch you. And a lot of times, I feel like it's kind of hard to even say in a club setting, but a lot of times you get this in a lot of club settings. You get a lot of men groping and touching on women as they pass you by. And it's like, club or not, bro, you shouldn't be touching people. You need to know if somebody wants you to touch them. You need to be getting that. That is a big thing that I think a lot of people even dismiss as far as sexual assault. Like those type of things be leading up to way more vicious things. So we definitely gotta keep ourselves checked about that. So let's see. The slut walk, let's just run it back. What's her name? Gosh. Amber Rose. That's where I was trying to go with this. Amber Rose, the slut walk. That kind of founded about 3-4 years ago, maybe a little more.
I think it was like 2015.
Okay, yeah, so a couple more years ago. And then just to clarify, was that initial movement just about sexual assault and awareness?
So Amber Rose never started the Slut Walk. The Slut Walk was started in 2011 by a couple of people who were slut shamed after reporting sexual assault. And she got behind and created Slut Walk LA. Now, her movement was totally about sexual assault, but hers was more specifically also concentrating on slut shaming because of her lifestyle. And especially when you're talking about a city like LA, I'm sure plenty of people are slut shamed even beyond, you know, sexual assault. And hers was focused on sexual assault and sexual harassment, and people thinking like, oh, because you're a hoe, you should want to have sex with me and you should want to have sex with everyone. And that was a lot of her movement, which is a movement very true to her lifestyle. You know, her being a video girl and her known for dating men and like all this things that have created her brand. But she's also been a victim of sexual assault and probably sexual harassment on a daily basis. So when she did it, hers was very concentrated on slut shaming.
Okay, and so just to clarify, slut shaming is exactly what, because I know I've seen a lot of men kind of join in, and I think that a lot of times it's always a woman's conversation. I feel like rape and sexual assault, that's always women conversation. And I never want to leave our men out to not only inform themselves, but to inform the women around them that may not be having these conversations. And also just to kind of keep men aware that these situations happen and they may not look how they typically look. So just for the men joining, what exactly is slut shaming?
Shoot, men get slut shamed too, you know, especially when you have that rite of passage conversation. But the slut shaming is when you are pretty much, there's examples like telling someone like, oh, you're promiscuous, you should want to have sex with anyone, thinking that it's okay to, you know, sexually assault strippers or, you know, sex workers, having conversations with men when they don't want to have sex with someone, saying, well, you're a man, you should want to have sex with everybody. It's taking the agency from someone's sexual being and themselves and telling other people, like making them feel bad that they're not going to have sex with someone, or that or in the opposite, if that person was assaulted, by telling them like, oh, you weren't assaulted because you're a hoe, or you weren't assaulted because you had on this skirt, or you weren't assaulted because why wouldn't you want to have sex with that woman? You know, like there's a lot of layers to it. So it's making someone feel guilty about having agency over their sexuality.
I like that. And just because I know that I think his name is Jose Sanchez. I think I may have it wrong. It's the guy from The Game. I've actually, it's crazy that we're having this conversation, that I'm participating, because I recently just shared his kind of like coming out story about his sexual assault when he was a kid. I just recently shared it maybe like 5 days ago. And I think that nobody took him seriously. A lot of people shamed him for being a man and being he's kind of muscular. He's not a little skinny dude. So people kind of shamed him for like, how did you let somebody do that to you? But he was a kid when it happened. And I think a lot of times a lot of that is that slut shaming. How did you let that happen? You're a boy. You should want that to happen. It's like, first off, that's not a rite of passage. That's molestation. Okay, let's just be clear. Women can also be pedophiles. They can also be sexual predators. So this is very clear. Like, nobody's exempt from this. Nobody, men, women, children, nobody.
It affects every community. That's the biggest thing about sexual assault.
I did want to ask you a few things about. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I can't hear you.
I was just saying that it affects everyone, every community, no matter your religion, your race, your gender, your sexuality. Every single demographic of people are affected by sexual assault.
I agree. I definitely agree. Are there any do you have any stats as far as what the sexual assault rate is against Black men and women, or how it goes unreported? I know I was looking up some a couple of days ago in regards to that.
So people of color are more likely to be sexually assaulted, and poor people are more likely to be sexually.
I think we have some technical.
You hear me?
Oh,
okay, that was yeah. Okay, but yes. So people of color and poor people are more likely to be sexually assaulted. Also, the biggest age demographic for sexual assault is in between the ages of 18 and 25. So we're talking about like college age or like young adults.
Right. And why does it go so unreported? What is that about?
So most cases go unreported because people don't think anyone's going to believe them. So most times when we talk about sexual assault, like we said earlier, it's not usually the, like robber in the alley or anything like that. It's usually somebody they know. A lot of times rape is a power thing. So sometimes it's by someone powerful, whether it's someone who has an executive job or is an athlete or is, an authority figure. Even when we talk about sexual assault, 1 out of 8 women in prison are sexually assaulted during their stay. So we're talking about like a lot of different people. Like, who do you report it to if the police are the ones who sexually assaulted you? And when we talk about the conviction rate only being 1% in most places, you're not going to get a lot of people who report it. So there are a lot of factors that keep people silent. Now, sexual assault is usually just people usually get justice with lawsuits. Now, if we look at the actual statistics, I think it's 25% of victims end up winning a lawsuit against their sexual accuser, and then an additional like 15% get paid to be quiet.
Wow. So no conviction, but they can definitely send out this hush money, and they can win in the lawsuit.
Yes.
That's insane. That is insanity.
Yeah,
it's happening. Wow. And I think that there's the saying that goes around that, and I definitely don't want men, because I actually had this conversation on Facebook too. I don't want men to feel like they are intentionally befriending rapists, just so we clear. But I also want men to understand that these men and even women that are committing these acts, these are not people that are completely isolated from society. These are people that that you walk past on the daily, and people that you may not be so far out of your circle. Do you have any and do you have any like type of characteristics? What characteristics would be of someone that may commit a sexual assault, or is that kind of like a little too broad to give? I think we're having some technical. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Hello. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Cool. So it really depends. So usually they only have profiles for serial rapists, but anybody, honestly, it could be anybody. And it's unfortunate that the spectrum is so broad, because like we were talking about women too, it really just comes down to like, usually when you tell someone you were sexually assaulted by someone, they won't believe you because that person is kind and compassionate and cunning to everyone, and then they've done something to you. So it's really hard to find those characteristics of what someone who is an abuser looks like.
I definitely agree. Definitely. I just want to put that out there just in case, you know, people were wondering, like, well, who are these people? What do I look for? Like I said, they could be everyday people that walk past you that you see. They may be someone in your circle. They're just not. I know a lot of people like to watch Criminal Minds, a lot of Law and Order. They think these people are isolated people. No, they're not. And to say that they're not isolated, Rick Ross he called lawsuits behind this song. I think he even lost an endorsement deal. I was actually doing research on it because I was really big when that came out. You know, Pop the Molly or whatever, and
she ain't even know it.
Like what? Like, and everybody was rapping and singing it, and like it was okay. And it's like, yo, that's not cool. That's like Bill Cosby. That's not cool.
Yeah, it's not at all. I can say that lately there's been rappers that I've heard, like the Baby and Little Baby and all these other rappers who've been rapping explicitly about consent, and I've been surprised. You know, like, if she don't want to fuck, I'm not gonna make her, or like stuff like that. Because a lot of times I hear the opposite. So like, you know, to hear that from these young rappers, I'm like, okay, like I could get behind that.
Yeah, I like that. I know that just speaking of rap music, because I like to think that, I hate to say it, but country music doesn't promote rape or, you know, degrading of women. But you hear a lot of this in rap music.
Girl. Country music talks about beating they women and making them subordinate, all that stuff, girl. Country music is horrible.
Oh, see, I ain't know that, y'all. I'm sorry, then. Y'all heard it here, because I don't be listening. I listen to a little country, but I ain't talk about that, though. But we're going to fast forward, then. So I know a big thing when it comes to just sexual assault and making sure that we can get these convictions and people are actually getting justice for the things done to them. There was a big thing in Detroit a couple years ago where they found a bunch of untested rape kits laying out in the open. Can you talk to me? Let's talk about that, because that was big. That was huge.
Girl, so they found over 20,000 rape kits. Some of them were so moldy they were unable to test them. Then they didn't have the funding for it and had to raise money. And then Kim Worthy acting like she's somebody's superhero. Like, girl, some of that stuff happens while you were there, but now you discovered it, whatever. You know, so they ended up finding over 890 serial rapists after they tested those kits. And they're still testing kits today. So it really goes to show, like, look, 20,000 rapes have been reported and y'all did nothing. So it goes back to why people don't really feel like it's going to work to even report their rapes. And that's police brutality right there, not testing those rape kits and letting all of those women be forgotten. And there were so many people who could have been caught for those cases, and we could have prevented so many rapes, and they didn't at all.
How many lives could we have saved that those men probably murdered along the way? You know, and it is definitely police brutality. It's so much negligence in the city, because how could it have laid there and nobody knew where this information was? It wasn't properly stored. It wasn't properly tracked. Who's in charge of these things? Because y'all let me know that it don't matter. This is the big thing. It don't matter. That's what that says to us.
Yeah, it let everyone know that victims don't matter. Victims don't matter to the city of Detroit.
Thank you. Detroit, Michigan did not show enough care about the women and men and children sexually assaulted in the city to keep track of that information and try to get these people off the street. I agree. I definitely agree. So you became the chairperson of the Detroit Slutwalk. Now, talk to us about when the Slutwalk is, and what people can do to possibly donate to this cause, and just more about the event.
So it's this Saturday, so only a few days away. I'm so excited. It's from 12 to 5 p.m. in Palmer Park, and it's going to be a great event. So not only is it going to be informative and there'll be a march so we can get our exercise in, but it's going to be fun. We have DJ Lixer, we have comedian D'Lo Brown, we have the Delta Phi Delta dancers from Wayne State, and we have like yoga, we have a voters registration table. We'll have free food from Seva, the vegan restaurant, and all of our sponsors like La Taco Bay, Twerk Fit with Slick Vic, Exchange Detroit, and so many more. Will be there giving out food. We'll also have a twerk float during the march, and it'll just be amazing. So we're standing in solidarity, but we're survivors. We don't call people who have had experiences with sexual assault victims. We're survivors. So we're also going to be celebrating surviving. So it's going to be a great event. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to stand in solidarity. And right now we're promoting a petition that's on change.org. You can just look up Detroit Slutwalk, and it is asking for maximum sentencing to all violent abusers, because a big problem is the people who do get convicted get slaps on the wrist. So we're working on, it's a small scale, but we're working our way up to make actual change with rape culture and sexual assault.
I like that. And how long has the Slut Walk been around in Detroit?
This is the third year. So there wasn't one last year, but it was 2017, 2018, and now 2020.
I like that. So I know you guys may sound like we about to go yet. I got more questions and I gotta give you more info. But yes. Okay, so like I said earlier, that I always want to make our men are also victims of sexual assault, but I also want to make them allies as well, because like I said, this is most of the time a woman's conversation. So for the men, what are some ways that they can possibly assist maybe their sister, their girlfriend, if they've been sexually assaulted?
Having conversations, like letting people vent and letting them know that you believe them. Like, that's the biggest thing that survivors need, is to feel believed and to feel like they have a safe space. And especially if they were assaulted by a man, you want to let them know that they can still come to a man. A lot of people don't believe in vigilante justice, but if you want to go beat that person up, I support that. I'm a big vigilante justice person, because the police ain't doing nothing. So you can go kick somebody's ass for them as well. And I also think that the big thing is letting them know that there are resources so that they can get real help. So you have places like the Sasha Center or the Detroit Recovery Project, and the YWCA also helps with sexual assault survivors, and letting them know that there are resources and kind of doing the research for them, because a lot of times, they're traumatized. Do that research for them and let them know that those things are there, and guide them through it, and just be that listening ear. And the biggest thing to start with is letting them know that you believe them.
I like that. I really like that. And I know that I said, you guys, that information was for men to become women allies, but women, I also want you to take that information as well, just in case your man may say, hey, a woman touched me when I was a kid. That's always that safe space. Creating that safe space is the most important thing for people to feel more comfortable coming forward, so that they can report these crimes, and then we can get these people convicted and off the streets. Just another thing, what are some, let's see here. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the process as far as going along and reporting it. How familiar are you with that?
So there's several different ways that you can report sexual assault. So the Detroit Recovery, if you are afraid of the police, you can go to the Detroit Recovery Project, or you can call them, and they will come to you and give you a rape kit, and they will store your rape kit until you're ready to report it to the police. Wow. And you can go there as well. You can go to a hospital. Now, the hospital is required to call the police, and you get your rape kit there. I think that's kind of a safer space for people who especially don't want to go straight to the police as well, is going straight to the hospital and letting them know that you've been sexually assaulted. Or you can go to a police station as well. They're going to end up sending you to a hospital anyway. So, because when you get sexually assaulted, a rape kit includes like a swab, it includes pictures, it includes, like a check of all your goodies. It includes tons of medication so that you don't get pregnant or you don't get any STDs or STIs or anything. So even if you are not sure you want to report it, you, for your health, call the Detroit Recovery Project, or, like, go to a hospital. And if you don't feel like going through with the charges, you don't have to. But you need that stuff in order to keep you from having your assaulter's baby or having something that your assaulter has.
I like that. And another thing is, not only just the reporting process, if you do believe that you've been sexually assaulted, I know that a lot of times, I don't know, ain't familiar with it. I know the only interaction I've ever had with sexual assault or someone that has been was in college. I knew a woman that was. A lot of times on the TV, they tell you don't take a shower. So what are some steps if you've been sexually assaulted? What should they do immediately afterwards?
Don't take a shower, because you're going to wipe away all that evidence, whether you have their skin in your fingernails or their sperm in your vagina or whatever the case is. You shouldn't. Them know and let them know where you're going or where they're supposed to take you. That's the biggest thing you can do. If you are injured and you cannot go, you need to call 911 and get an EMS. Get an EMS instead of the police. Just let them know that you are hurt and that you need an ambulance, so that you can kind of slowly roll into that process. That's the biggest thing you can do for your first steps. Now, trauma, you can't guarantee you're not going to take a shower or that you're not going to report it 10 days later.
Right.
I still recommend going to the Detroit Recovery Project or going to the hospital first, because these people are still going to treat you based on being sexually assaulted, and they're going to give you steps further on what to do, especially sexual assault is a public health issue. So I do recommend people, even if it's calling your gynecologist, doing those steps, going to a clinic. You can also go to a free clinic and let them know, like, I think I was in contact with, any STD or STI, like, I need help. Even if you don't want to necessarily report you are sexually assaulted, you can go to a free clinic and let them know, like, I had sex with someone that may have had anything, and they'll be able to help you there too.
And just so we're clear, just for some clarification, Planned Parenthood, I know a lot of people are familiar with this place because of abortions, but they also do STD testing, free STD testing.
Mm-hmm.
So
they do way more than abortion. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know that, and that's why it's kind of like,
it's only 2% of what they do is abortion. Mm-hmm.
Boom. So what they do another 98. But you guys,
Planned Parenthood will actually be there too.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay, so you guys know that as well. And I know we just touched on men or women showering. The same thing goes for men. You don't kind of want to wash off your body. You're going to wash away any DNA or any evidence that could possibly help get a conviction, and get that person off the streets.
Yes, you definitely want to take those same steps, because your health is most important. And if that person had anything from HIV to trichomonas, whichever way on the scale of what they had, you definitely don't want that to affect your life in the long run. So you want to take care of your health.
I like that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section, men or women. We definitely want to answer any questions and get the most accurate and up-to-date information out there. We want you guys as informed and as aware of sexual assault and everything that comes with it as possible, as much as possible. Another thing is that as far as therapy and treatment afterwards for the mental aspect that a lot of survivors may face, how do they go about that, or what is the resources that they can go about getting therapy for that?
So the Sasha Center is a wonderful place in Detroit to turn to, because that's exactly what they deal with. They deal with your mental health and your spiritual health after being sexually assaulted. The WYCA is another great place, because they have free counseling for up to a year for sexual assault survivors. Wow. So it takes nothing to qualify for that. You just contact them. So there's also, I can't remember the program at Wayne State, but Wayne State also offers free peer counseling for up to 2 years for sexual assault survivors as well. So there are resources to get free counseling. All of these places offer those things for free for sexual assault survivors. It doesn't matter, man, woman, or child. you can go and get those services
I
from
like
those
that.
places.
I love that. I didn't know there were so many. I love that. And I definitely want to touch on, I'm not sure how familiar you are is just with the process of children being sexually assaulted. But if you believe that your child, maybe a little brother, younger sister, may have been sexually assaulted, what exactly, how do you go about trying to address that and get them as help?
So you want to call the police first and foremost, because especially when it comes to children, they don't play about babies. So that's one thing that the police are going to do. Also, you want to look up when the stature of limitations, because some places you can be 80 years old and accuse your accuser for molesting you when you were 4, and you can. Some places you have 5 years after you turned 18. So you want to find out the statute of limitations as well. There are a lot of programs for children as well through those spaces, but there's even more because schools offer free counseling and free resources. A lot of schools do. And there are also different organizations that will follow a child throughout their childhood to
Wow.
ensure that they're okay.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I did not know that they do that. Just to ask about children, just because I saw a meme. I'm not sure how truthful it was, but I did see a meme floats around every so often, that a young girl was being molested, but because she was taught to call her vagina her cookies, she would say that someone was eating her cookies or touching her cookies. And for the longest, they did not know what that meant. And I wanted to just kind of emphasize how important it is to teach your children their body parts and the parts that are off limits.
It's so important to let them know what those are really called. And I know that telling a child this is your vagina and this is your penis is a very hard thing, okay? But you have to, and you have to teach them agency. So when we talk about agency with children, it's like if they come into your family's house and they don't want to hug everybody, you have to let them know that that's okay. Because if you let your child keep receiving unwanted touch, eventually, if someone does touch them inappropriately, they're going to think that's okay, especially if it's someone they're familiar with, because you let them know that they're supposed to let people touch them when they don't want to be touched. So not only letting children know what those body parts are, nobody should be touching them, you also have to let them know like they have agency over themselves.
Exactly. I think that's super important to allow children to have boundaries, because just like they can receive vibes, they can receive the vibes that they don't want to feel, and they should not be forced to go against that energy, because you as an adult would not be forced to entertain someone you do not want to entertain. So I think that's super important. What are some things, maybe some behavioral changes that children or that parents should look out for, or anyone should look out for, if they suspect that their child may have been sexually assaulted?
You will see a child either act out or completely disassociate. So not wanting to be around people because of the fear or the shame, or completely acting a fool, or emulating what happened to them, whether it's with other children or with toys. And that's the big thing. So, you know, I actually read a story about a little boy who got in trouble for touching his little sister. And the mom got pissed, beat the hell out of him, and all this stuff. Come to find out 4 years later, he was being molested by his uncle. And he was emulating those things. So a lot of times, if you see something like that, you should know firsthand your child has been touched. So those are a lot of things that you can look at, because they're either going to disassociate, act a damn fool, or reenact what happened to them, or all three.
There you go. And I think that that eventually escalates into the sexualization of black men and black boys and black girls. We like to label it fast, and it's like, was she getting touched, and is she just mimicking what she sees? Because now that you kind of gotta read more. You can't just automatically label it as promiscuity, because as a child, it's like, where did you get the idea from? I know a lot of children watch a lot of media, but where did they get that from? So we got to be mindful of the things that we call our children before we try to actually address what the issue is with them.
Big time.
a big thing I can't remember I seen, but a lot of LGBTQ community presence as far as with the slut walk. Can you tell me about that and how that kind of came into play?
So it's always been that way. One, because it's in Palmer Park, which is like the LGBTQIA capital of Detroit. And two, because this community, especially when we talk about like sex work, you have a lot of trans women who are sex workers. And then you also have a lot of people who have the story of like, you know what, I'm a fuck the gay out of you, or I'm a fuck the lesbian out of you type things that happen to people. So there's a lot of reasons why we have the LGBTQIA presence strong, because that community is affected by sexual assault. And I would say one of the most violent ways besides children.
Definitely. How do, just some resources for LGBTQ members, what are some resources and places that they can go, or do they still have access to those? I'm going to say maybe to places that are specifically tailored for them, because I know a lot of times, sometimes people still be discriminated, even though it's a very vicious and heinous crime, they're still discriminatory against them. So what are some resources and tools that some LGBTQ community members could access if they do need that type of assistance?
So for LGBTQIA children, the Ruth Ellis Center is a perfect place because it helps specifically with anyone under the ages of 21 who is lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, or anything in between. A great place. They are literally like the mecca of things for children of like that community. I can't remember the organization off the top of my head, but our keynote speaker, Nicole Denson, was one of the former chairs of that organization. Okay. And there are like literally like 4 other organizations that are in Palmer Park. If you just look up LGBTQIA organizations Detroit, there's going to be 6 that pop up. The first 4 are the ones that I recommend. The Ruth Ellis Center, though, is specifically for children.
I like that. I thank you for that information. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them. Any survivor stories that you want to share. We did have some comments here, stranger danger. Yeah, that is a big thing. We got to make sure that we teach our children boundaries. I know that my son, it's kind of weird because it's kind of like, I don't know why it's so weird when people take so offense to when a kid tells them to stop, especially when they're small. My son's 1.5, and my dad was tickling him, and he was like, "Stop!" And I was like, "Stop!" He said he don't want to be touched. Let him go. And it's kind of a weird boundary to enforce, but it's like it's necessary for your safety. It's so necessary. And so let's see here. I'm trying to make sure. Okay, so let's talk about that. How do we make sure that we're enforcing, we allow our children to enforce those boundaries, or we help to enforce those boundaries with them?
By listening to them. So the big thing is finding creative ways to ask your children questions where they don't feel bombarded. So, you know, if y'all are sitting down coloring and being like, hey, you know, what's been going on with you being, or if you saw an uncomfortable situation, let's say it's Thanksgiving and counselor. Now, they don't have to go see like some psychiatric therapist who's going to diagnose them medicine, but there's probably something going on with them that you do want, that they probably can't process, so they can't speak to you about, especially if it's something serious. But those people, they're trained and equipped to have those conversations, and they usually do it like playing Fortnite or checkers or something with your kids. So you can figure it out in that way too. But if you see those signs, follow your intuition. All parents got it. Follow your intuition and take those steps.
Yep. I love that. I love that, and I thank you so much, Chantel, for joining us and for that information. And even keep some of these tips in mind for your own friends. They start dissociating. They don't want to be. It's like, try to. It may not be rape. Maybe they just might be irritated. They don't want to deal with you. But you definitely want to keep a lookout for those signs in your children and adults. Talk to your friends that are part of the LGBTQ community. Try to keep that floor open and create that safe space so that they can talk to you, and that we can definitely get more people to speak up, get these conviction rates, and get these people taken off the streets. I appreciate you. I thank you. I'm so happy that I get to volunteer with you guys this Saturday, Chantel. So thank you so much for your time. Before you leave, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Okay, now I think I got it. I can hear you now.
Okay, I was just saying thank you for your time, and I'm so happy you came to join us and talk today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I hope I see all of you at the Detroit. Can you hear me, girl?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. So I thank you guys. Yes, I can hear you. So thank you guys so much. Please come to the Detroit Slut Walk this Saturday and sign the petition. Go to change.org and look up the Detroit Slut Walk. And I will see you, girl, this weekend because you're one of our volunteers. And I appreciate you so much for having me on the show and for participating.
Of course. And before you go, Chantel, we always have to get something else that we're grateful once we exit the show. Can you give us another thing that you're grateful for?
Okay, I can finally hear you, girl. I don't know what's up on my Wi-Fi. Why it's acting up? I think everybody on it right now at 7:47, so I do apologize.
It's okay. Give us something that you're grateful for before you leave us. Well, I'm sorry, guys. Technical difficulties, that is technology for you. But that's okay. We definitely enjoy Chantel. I'm so grateful she got to join us. And before we leave, drop something in my comment section that you're grateful for. I'm grateful for my amazing viewers. I'm grateful. It's okay. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for my amazing viewers. I don't know if you guys heard my son screaming in the background, but I'm grateful for a cat in the hat for keeping him occupied while I do this show. But of course, thank you so much. I appreciate you as well. As always, you guys, my name is Cherrell Carter. I am the host of Let's Talk, and this ain't a podcast. I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss it.